Boys and girls, welcome back. It is Vortie here. We got an interesting video that's going to be rolling out right now that you guys are watching. Essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about Espers. We do have a few additional Espers since the last time I made my video talking about the functions of Espers and what we should be using them for. And that's kind of what I'm going to go through right now. I'm going to show you each of the Espers I have. I'm going to show you the templates I have made for them. I'm going to let you know what usefulness I have for them and which units I might be putting them on and why. This way, if you are kind of confused on when you need to use them or not, it can maybe help you drive your idea and your thoughts of building a better party to make you a little bit more successful when you're actually trying to clear a boss that you're struggling on. So we're going to go to our Espers here. As you can see here, I do have all the Espers leveled up, and even our friend here, which we're going to start off with, first, Siren. Siren is probably going to be the weakest one and probably never used, never used. However, having the Esper leveled up just in case is always a good idea, because you never know when Gumi or Lumi or whatever are going to be buffing these Espers, especially if they see that nobody's using them, and especially when their 3 stars come out, they might have more usefulness, and you're already premeditated and already made there. So as you can see here, for her, I do have her leveled up. I have tons of resources here to waste to continue to level them up if I needed to, but for her training, I just picked up some things in case I wanted to put her on there. I just picked those up to have. So I picked up things that as I was doing the actual story, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to need Analyze. I'm going to need, you know, Lullaby or whatever at the time when I was trying to clear the story event to make sure to get that extra Lapis. And that's really all I picked up. At this point, I haven't touched anything else. I was looking to see, like, maybe going in and picking up water, so that way having a unit that I just put her on now has water in case I need to cast water for like a Lapis reward. Maybe picking up the spell and having that, but other than that, her usefulness right now is a little bit lackluster. I still do like her, and I do have her leveled up fully. I just don't have a position where I want to put her. If some of these abilities like Shell, or you know, her bar water spell was bar Wadera, where it's like an AoE bar water spell, it would be a little bit more interesting. But all her abilities and everything are just very, very lackluster. So, you know, if anything, if I really am up to it, I might pick up all the hit points and the defense, and then get spirit and just make her my, you know, defense and spirit unit. But really, like, when you look at her stats here, you're getting 31 hit points, 34 MP, 19 defense. That's so poo-poo. 36 spirit and 36 magic. It really is nothing special of this unit at all. So it's unfortunate. The next unit here is going to be Ifrit. As far as Siren, like, I don't have any unit that's best going to be used for her, so I'm not going to suggest anything. She's kind of sitting there right now waiting for her next buff, or her first buff really, to make her more useful. So she's kind of like up in the air. If you're a new player, just gear her up as the best as you can with the defense and whatever to take advantage of her. But other than that, as you start getting other Espers and you get your first 4 or 5 Espers and you no longer need her, then you're not going to be using her at all. Ifrit here, on the other hand, is going to be a Esper you're going to be using a ton. He belongs on a damage dealer. He's got, if you can see right there, 50 hit points, 22 MP, defense 30, attack 53, which is really solid, magic 21, and spirit 21. So we're going to be looking for that attack and hit points buff from him. He is a monster when it comes to being on a damage dealing unit. By clicking here on special, you can see one of the things that really makes him stand out is his killer abilities. He gets Plant Killer and Beast Killer, which increases your damage by 50% against plants, 50% against beasts, right? As well, I picked up, which most of you should probably pick up, is Raging Fist. It is a low MP cost of dealing unmitigated damage, or partially unmitigated, which technically means that it ignores stats to make you do more damage. Normally, if it's a physical attack, it ignores defense. If it's a magic attack, it ignores spirit. So it's actually really, really cool. And it's only 3 MP. Having this on a damage dealer who runs out of MP and you still want him to do decent damage, it's a really good move to have. So looking here at the actual plate that I kind of went down, I picked up the Beast Killer, which is a must-have. Picking up the Plant Killer on the top here is a must-have. And, you know, you have to pick up Raging Fist on the way to Plant Killer, so it's a really solid. Make sure you pick up all the attack, and then from there you can kind of mix and match, picking up the defense, or if you want the MP. Depending on how you're working, you can kind of mix and match those. But personally, I went more with the protective side, making sure that my damage dealers kind of stay alive as much as possible. I don't really care too much about MP, as most of those units I can kind of, you know, heal, give them more MP by using potions or whatever, but this is kind of the best build for him. And again, this is for a damage dealer, especially if you're fighting plants or beasts. You kind of want him, so make sure you pick those up. With the way the points work, now you can reuse your points and you're going to be able to pick those up for sure. So let's take a look at the next dude here. So next one is going to be Shiva. Shiva's a little bit of a mystery. You kind of use her at the beginning a lot for a magic caster, so she's kind of like your extra magic casting one. Her and Ramuh kind of fit those roles right now, but essentially what it is really good for a magic caster next to Ramuh, right? So if you don't have a Ramuh yet and you picked up Shiva, then you can pick up her for your magic casters. 55 magic, 55 spirit, which is really nice. Tons of MP as well here. Defense, attack, and hit points are going to be low because they belong more on a caster, more so of like a magic caster. That kind of role. So let's take a look at the special abilities here. I picked up Magic Break, just that's it. And then looking at the board I went with here, because at the time when I was playing and using her, I didn't have any other characters that would give me more attack. I kind of picked up attack on her, and she was kind of sitting on my attack units while she was also sitting on my other units. And by attack, I mean she was my primary Esper for my Noctis at the time. So I geared her up in a sense that, you know what, I can get the magic and I can get a little bit of attack out of her. But as I was leveling up, I became more versatile in my Espers, and I didn't use Shiva on Noctis because it was redundant. I picked up Ifrit and I put Ifrit on him, or put on Diabolos or Odin, depending on what I was really doing. So this became a little bit redundant. So you can see I have 86 points to spend and they didn't really go anywhere. Now that I can respec her, I will probably pick up the spirit all the way through. I will not touch any of the attack because it's redundant. I will actually go up and pick up all of the defense here. I don't need Libra or any of this stuff here, actually. It depends. If you don't have any other characters that have Imperil, you might want to go up the defensive route and pick up Imperil. And if you don't have any units that have Libra, Libra is always good to have, especially if you're like a collector. Having more than one Esper that has Libra is going to be pretty good. But most units now that are actually pretty decent already have either Libra or Analyze already in their kit, just because they're adding that stuff more in there. But yeah, this is kind of what I went with Shiva. Must have is picking up the magic, the additional spells here like Blizzera and Bar Blizzard is good to have. But overall, that's kind of how it is. And again, this unit belongs on a magic caster. That's where you want to put her. Alrighty, looking at the next one here is going to be Golem. Golem is probably one of the more centralized, most needed, must-have Espers right away, and you're getting really soon. So make sure that you have Golem right away, and you make sure you get Provoke, because if you don't get Provoke, Golem is pretty useless. Some people argue that because they're like, oh well, as long as you have cover, you'll be fine. No, you have to have Provoke. You must pick up Provoke, you must pick up a Bug Killer, you must pick up Stone Killer. The one thing it is arguable is cover. I would say pick up cover because not all tanks have cover naturally in their kit, so I would pick that up. And then Last Stand is something I picked up as well that helps you kind of make your tank stay alive a little bit more. So this is the plates I picked up. Going up all the way to Provoke, picking up all that hit points and getting that as well. The attack you had to pick up to get Bug Killer. And then down here picking up all the defense to go to Last Stand, as well as the defense all the way down to Stone Killer. They are must-haves. These top up here are very meh, not really useful, so these ones can all be cut out. As you can see, Poisana's useless. Bar Stone is good, but it's a single target cast. If it was Bar Stone Ra, it would be better. Just like it would apply to any of these Espers if they had AoE element buff for themselves, would be really good. Then the rest of this is pretty useless. So that's kind of what I went with him. Must have Provoke. Personally, must have cover because not all tanks have that cover. And make sure that he's built to give lots of defense, lots of hit points, and pick up the Bug and Stone Killer because you never know when you're going to need it. And that's kind of how it is. And this is why cover is up for debate. Because if you put your Golem now on, let's say, Orlando or a damage dealer when you're trying to get the Bug Killer and Stone Killer effect for fighting a boss, your damage dealer now has a chance of jumping in front of another unit and covering for that unit, right? So, you know, making him a little bit more, having a higher chance of actually getting killed, which is kind of opposite of what you want to do. That's why it's questionable with the ability of being able to respec. It's minuscule now, it doesn't really matter. If you're struggling with tanks and stuff like that, then you're going to pick this up as well because you're going to need the cover if your tank is not doing their job. But if you're okay with your tanks and you got someone like, let's say, Warrior of Light, you probably don't need cover anymore because Warrior of Light has Provoke naturally in their kit. And he naturally will jump in front of characters with his abilities. So you're pretty much set up with that. Okay, so that's that. This dude belongs on your tank. And then if there is an event that requires Bug Killer or any of those things, then you're going to be utilizing him to get those enhancements for that fight, that 50% buff. Alrighty, so next one is going to be Ramuh. Ramuh was the guy that I would say that was kind of sharing a spot with Shiva. But Shiva, as you can see, her magic is a lot lower than Ramuh. So Ramuh is going to be on your main magic dealing bad boy or bad girl, whatever. He's got tons of hit points. Tons of, sorry, not tons of hit points, tons of MP. His hit points is okay. Attack is really weak, defense is really weak, magic is really solid at 60, and spirit is at 45. I kind of forgot to say that here, but as you can see in Golem, Golem's hit points really, really high, defense is really high, MP is really high, and what's actually really sad is the fact that his spirit is really low, which is kind of something you want to have on a tank, lots of spirit so that they can survive those magic attacks, but he is lacking that. So I forgot to mention that a second ago, but that's kind of where he sits, as you can see the stat board. Okay, so looking at the special abilities, he's got none. This guy's got none. Magic, though, is where he's going to be shining. I picked up a lot of abilities from him, and I use him a lot for these abilities like Libra and Dispel and Imperil. This is why I didn't pick up the Imperil and stuff like that on Shiva or other units, because Ramuh is one of the units I bring along all the time, and I don't want to have to change him for anything else when I already have to utilize him. So let's look at his board. It's a little bit funky monkey, but I'm sure you guys will understand once you take a look. So I went up and I got Imperil. I think it's a must-have, at least on one of your Espers. If your units don't have it, it is a good thing to have. And having it on a Esper that you're going to be bringing on a lot because he is the best in his class currently, might as well pick it up because you're going to be using that unit all the time and you'll have it available. I picked up Libra as well because of that unit is going to be there. And then I went across that attack all the way up. I picked up some hit points here. I do have 30 points left. I'm unsure what I want to do with it. Currently, there's, other than the defense, the blind is pointless for me. I might just pick up the defense up there. I mean, you get 1% of it, which is whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I don't have any use for it. I really don't care. Even bio, maybe just for having dark magic to cast. But that's kind of how it is. Pick up the magic. You're going to need that because he makes him the best magic Esper. Picking up all these other things here like Thunder, Drain. Going down and getting Osmosis. Osmosis is very, very important, especially for a magic caster. Having that on them to get that chance to get more MP back, especially if they don't have it, is key in making sure that your magic caster does a ton of damage. The spell is a must-have spell. If somebody tells you otherwise, you can punch that person right in the foot. Right in the toe, the baby toe. Find their baby toe and punch them in the baby toe and be like, Vortie said you're doo-doo and you need to be punched in the baby pinky toe because the spell is a must-have spell. So I'll backtrack a little bit about that. So it is very, very important, but we have other units now like Zon and stuff like that make the spell not super relevant on your units. If you have Zon, obviously the best thing to do is to do Twisted Fate and steal the buff rather than removing it. But there's going to be scenarios when you cannot do that, or Zon is not really viable because he's too squishy, or he just won't be able to perform. You just want to remove the buff completely, right? So this is very good to have. And this is like, this Esper has a lot of utility. He does the damage for you, he gives you some defense, he gives you some MP, gives you really, really useful abilities, a little bit of spirit, and ways to debuff your actual enemy. Again, this Esper is designed to sit on a caster, right? I would say Shiva is way better for a unit like Noctis when they're hybrid, whereas Ramuh is way better on a magic caster that does specific magic, right? You can kind of mix and match this guy. Shiva's kind of almost like that hybrid character. There's one other hybrid unit that you can use, and that's going to be Diabolos, and we'll talk about him when we get to him. So again, Ramuh, magic caster. So if you have Dark Fina, Beat Sea Fina, X Death, whatever, Ramuh goes on him if you want to get the best magic amount of damage out of them, alright? Alrighty, so, next one. Who's next? Speaking of Diabolos, that rascal, my favorite Esper of all times, since Final Fantasy VIII, when I had to fight him out of that stupid genie bottle, and realized that if you fight him early on, you can beat him sooner than later, because he's a little bit easier. So here you go. He's a little bit more questionable in this sense. Honestly, like, a lot of people have mixed feelings about him, as I do. He's not really filling any roles. So looking at his special abilities, he gets Man-Eater and Demon Killer, which is amazing. It's definitely the best two qualities about him. Again, 50% damage against humans with Man-Eater, and then 50% against demons with Demon Killer. And Dark Side was just one of the abilities you pick up for fun. So let's look at his stats first, actually. As you can see here, hit points is 46, which is nice. MP 60, magic 54, spirit 31, defense 23, 1600 attack. He's kind of like all around not that bad. Like, he's got four core stats that are not bad. Kind of putting him in that area where, like, you know what, he could probably do multiple roles. And that's kind of where his fault is. He has a little bit of everything, which makes it really hard to decide what do you really want to use him for. So for me, I literally only use him for his killer effects. If I'm going to be fighting humans, I got Diabolos on. If I'm going to be fighting demons, I got Diabolos on, right? Other than that, I really don't use him a lot. I saved 55 points because I'm still debating heavily whether I want to have reduced encounter on him or not, or if I want to pick up Mug. It's one of those things that I'm still questioning, but the rest of the stats here are a little bit redundant for me. Again, it's 1% of this stat of 45 that you actually get, so picking this up is redundant as well. It's not going to boost his magic that much that he's going to be better than Ramuh. It won't happen. So you really want to utilize Diablo for picking up his actual abilities. So picking up things like Imperil, picking things up like Dark Side, picking up things like Reduce Counter if that's what your problem is when you're going out there and farming. Man-Eater must have. Picking up Demon Killer at the bottom must have. Mug is an interesting ability where units that are 100% evasion cannot dodge Mug. So Mug will deal damage and steal resources from them, like money or gil or whatever. So units cannot dodge that, and you can use this in PvP. As of right now, as of recording this video, this is currently viable. Maybe in the future they might change that where you can also dodge Mug, but this is one of the best ways for you to be able to deal damage. So if you're struggling and you're fighting Noctuses or just kicking your butt, and you need a way to make sure that you can cut through that, Mug is going to be an ability that will allow you to cut right through that, and you'll still be able to deal some damage. And if it's a human, which it will be because you're fighting them in the arena, you will be doing 50% additional damage because of Man-Eater, because it still affects that ability. So overall, Diabolos is going to be used on whoever you really want to. Especially for him, you want to be bringing him for his killer effect. Most of the things that we fight in events are either humans or they're demons, right? So you're going to be getting that additional buff from him. So overall, he is a mixed bag of tricks. You can kind of put him on anyone who requires those abilities that you're using him for. Other than that, it's really up to you, all right? Alrighty. Okay then, let's jump into the next one. This is one of the ones that has joined the fray very recently. So we have Carbuncle, and then two new Espers as well that followed Carbuncle. But Carbuncle is a support healing, mostly healing Esper. If you look at his stats, 33 hit points, 57 MP, which is really nice. 32 defense, spirit 62, gosh golly. Magic 44, and attack 18. So obviously you don't want to put this on a damage dealer because it's not going to do you any good. If a unit is lacking MP and Spirit, then this is going to be the unit you want to pick up. Okay, nothing for special. For magic here is really where he shines. He has all the AoE spells. Well, most of the AoE casting spells. So he's got fire, he's got thunder, and he's got ice. So he's got the three elements for you to be able to do AoE bar Fire, bar Blazera, bar Thundera, which is really good. Plus you can also get the spell out of them. And there's the cure and banish and stuff like that, but because you're going to be putting this on a healer, it is going to be a little bit redundant whether you get the cure or not. It doesn't really matter, but the spell is very nice. It's very useful. So the plates I picked up for him, I still have 80 points. I'm not fully certain what I want to do. Maybe pick up the spirit, probably. More than likely pick up the spirit. Just keep going for spirit, or maybe the MP. I don't know yet. But anyways, these abilities I just skipped out on, and again, I'm waiting for those updates to see what's going to happen. Like, I don't know. Maybe go all the way down to last stand to pick up the ability. I'm still uncertain about it, how I feel. But again, now that we can have that reset button, I might take a little bit more of a risk and just pick up probably Spirit and go last stand. Because last stand is alright. Because these other abilities are a little bit, like MP, 1% of that, Protect I don't care, Cure I don't care, it's going to be on my healer, Defense I don't really care, D-Shell I'm not going to be using that with my healer anyways, the Attack and the D-Protect I'm not going to be using, so honestly this is probably going to be the best route for me. I'm going to actually pick that up right now, because I don't really care much for any of that other stuff. The last stand at least is going to give me that increase in defense and spirit when they take critical damage, to make sure they survive a little bit more, so that's pretty much how I'm looking. That's how I'm looking. That's how I'm looking. Good looking. We'll pick that up too. Why not? Waste all the points I got. Cool. So that's kind of the what I'm looking at. Make sure you pick up all the bar spells. Bar Blazera, Bar Thundera, and Bar Fiera, which is somewhere there. Picking up those spells. There it is over there. Bar Fiera are must-haves. From there, picking up the Spirit is going to be really good because you're going to be putting this on your healer. Picking up some MP is going to be pretty decent for your healer, but picking up this, going down to last 10, is probably be a viable wave to make sure that your healer stays alive. If they take a big chunk of damage when they fall below a certain percent of life, their hit points, their defense and Spirit goes up, so they take a little bit less damage. I think that's going to be well worth the points, and this is kind of the way I'm looking at it. This guy is designed for being on a support unit, but more than likely on your healer, because they're going to be casting those bar spells, make sure that you can heal, get that extra Spirit or whatever. But again, it can go on a support unit if you have a healer that doesn't really require it. So I'm going to put my final verdict on Carbuncle, must have for healers. Very less likely can be put on support if you really want to, but that's up to you, alright? Alrighty, I think we got two more. We got two more to go, so we're going to take a look at these ones here. So next one here is going to be Odin. Odin is going to be my next favorite, probably really close side by side by Diabolos. So with Diabolos, he kind of does similar things, but he's designed for a attacking unit. Prior to this, you were looking at Ifrit as being the big kahuna for damage dealers. Once Odin came out, Odin took charge. So he's got 54 hit points, 39 MP, 42 defense, 62 attack, which is the highest one for attack right now. 20 magic, 22 spirit, very, very low. Special abilities here, you're going to pick up a bunch of them here. They're going to be very useful. One to go right off the bat, you're looking at Mirror Equity, which is just a physical damage dealer. But Finger Snap is a physical damage move that does dispel on attack. You got Slumber Blade, which puts an enemy to sleep. Blade Bashment gives you a chance of paralyzing a unit. Finisher is kind of useless, but you have to pick it up. Lance is one of the better abilities that a lot of people don't know. Lance will drain hit points and MP from the enemy, and as well as deal some damage. This is really good to have even on a physical damage dealer because every unit utilizes MP for something. You're going to need Lance, so make sure you pick it up. Dragon Killer and Undead Killer are must-haves, just like all the other killer effects. They're very, very good. Armor Break is meh, but you need it because you need to unlock other abilities. Blade Blitz must have. It is a AoE physical 1.4 multiplier. It gives any unit that you have now an ability to do AoE damage that puts it on. So it's really, 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 really useful. So let's look at the plates here. So I've wasted everything with him, and these are the plates I went with. I did a lot of research with him because the first time I did it, I actually avoided a few abilities, and I went and redid it, and this is going to be the best possible outcome for it. So I'm picking up Dragon Killer over there and Undead Killer at the bottom here are must-haves. Then picking up Blade Blitz at the bottom here is a must-have as well. My personal opinion, picking up Lance, must-have as well. And then filling in the rest of these things, if you feel like some of these things are not useful for you, then you can avoid them. But honestly, the best way to look at it, this is the best possible build for him. No Peril is useless, no Fear is useless, the Magic is useless. These attack down here, our defense is useless for him. Mental Break is useless. Even the Armor Break personally is useless, but you do need it to be able to get, like when I went through here, I picked up Armor Break instead, just because I'd rather break defense than magic. I have other units that can break magic, so more viable. Alright, so this is the build. Again, Odin is used for physical damage dealers. Again, it can also be put on hybrid damage dealers or whatever. Since his killer effects only take effect for physical damage, not magic, you're going to want to put them on those physical damage dealers to get that advantage for that those killer effects, right? That's kind of what you want him for. But yeah, overall, he can sit on your damage dealer and you're going to be very, very happy with him. Alrighty, we're on to the last two. We have last two here. I thought there was last two, but I forgot Titan was introduced recently. So we got Titan. Titan is the beast when you want to look at it, picking up a unit for hit points. You also got some strong attack. So before it was just Ifrit, but then you got Odin, and right after Odin you got Titan that you can utilize for units who need more attack. 61 hit points, 54 attack. Magic is really weak at 18. MP is very weak at 20. Defense is really solid at 40, and Spirit at 32. So he's pretty well rounded. Looking at his special ability, he learns Tumult and Armor Break. Tumult is an AoE Earth Element damage, and then his magic here, he gets Bar Stone Rot, which is really, really solid to have and when you're fighting bosses that are doing stone. So you're gonna find this and you're gonna be like, "What the hell, Vortie? What are you doing?" I went in and I picked up only the things I needed, and I avoided everything else. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm probably going to be remaking him and then picking some abilities, and I'll tell you kind of which route I'm heading. I'm just doing some research. I kind of want to let you guys know before I make my decision, and at a later date when we get some other Espers, like in 2 or 3 more Espers, I'll remake these videos and show you guys where I sit and what I've changed, and you can compare the videos. So far I've only picked up the things I needed. I kind of went up and got some of the spirit because I needed it as well. I had some attack all the way down to getting my tumult and making sure that I picked up bar stone run, which is right there. So my next course of action is probably going to be looking at it and just kind of seeing what usefulness am I going to be getting from like emergency regen, if I'm going to be getting anything from Geo Crush or anything like that. Other than that, I'm probably going to be looking for like just maybe the hit points or something like that. But as of right now, when you look at this, these abilities that I've picked up, like this path, is that's it. You really don't need anything else from this Esper. As far as the stats go, yes, you're gonna get 1%, you're gonna get a point here or there, but honestly, you can live without them. This dude is pretty much finished. You can pick up Rock Buster and Geo Crusher for those additional abilities, so you have them in case you need them, but in all fairness, that's really what you need. You need Stonra, you need Tumult out of him if you need Earth damage, and then he's done. That's kind of how it is, but you can let me know in the comment section below how you guys feel about Titan, and which way did you guys go with Titan, and why. Maybe that can help influence my my decision on picking that actual path too. But I feel pretty satisfied with what I got here, and knowing it's only 1% stats, everything else here is a little bit redundant. Waiting for that 3-star to see exactly what he's going to unlock and how much it's going to change him. As of right now, this is how it is. As far as the unit, belongs on a damage dealer, can also go on a support depending if you need that sparse Stonra, but I would put this guy in a damage dealer and kind of leave it at that. That's pretty much what his job is. For a damage dealer, you can get some extra hit points on there. If you're looking for some spirit, you can pick him up for spirit and defense, but you know, the more and more we go into that whole idea where our tanks have provoke in their kit naturally, you're almost shifting away from using Golem and then using somebody like Titan instead, because you get some more defense and some more spirit, you get more hit points as well, and you can do some damage, and you get some AoE damage as well in there with some of the abilities you unlock. So that's kind of the future I think he's going to go into, and that's probably where I'm going to be going with him myself. Probably unlocking more hit points from him and unlocking more defense from him just so that he can fit that role. So that's kind of where he sits. And then the last one here, I just finished making a video on Lakshmi. I literally just unlocked her a few hours earlier. Lakshmi, oh, what to say about her? It is a support Esper. She is a support Esper. Okay, designed literally for units that don't have healing capabilities to put him on there. She could be a replacement for Carbuncle in an area when you do not need bar spells. But either way, in your kit somewhere, somebody's going to be wearing Carbuncle. So they're kind of replaceable in my opinion. So if you look at it, 50 hit points, 50 MP, 25 defense, 58 spirit. Really, really nice. Attack 20, and 34 magic. Again, well-rounded Esper. If you are going to be taking a lot of magic damage, you might want to put Lakshmi on your tank or on a healer or on a support unit you're trying to keep alive to make sure they don't get destroyed, because you do get some well-rounded stats here. Looking at the specials here, the reason I'm saying she is a support Esper, you do get some interesting buffs. The buffs you get here is Assuring Protection, Waking Protection, and Softening Protection. Confusion Resistance, Paralysis Resistance, and Resistance to Stone for 3 turns. It costs you 13 MP, very, very low. You can utilize that across everyone, and you can be very, very happy having that. The other things you do get here, just by having her equipped, the route I went, I took Auto Regen and Mediguard, kind of preparing myself for being able to utilize this Esper on tanks as well as support and healing units. More than likely, if I'm going to be guarding, I'm guarding for a reason, because my ass is about to get spanked, right? And I want to make sure whoever this Esper sits on is doing their job, making sure that they stay alive. That's the whole idea. I also ended up picking up Demonic Whisper, which is something that's questionable. It does restore a low level amount of MP, but if you really are desperate and you need it and you have no other resources, at least you have it at your hand, at your disposal. That is why I picked it up. As far as magic here, I picked up Regen, Cure, and Cura. So it gives you a capability of having that on a unit so that they can also heal if they needed to. Very unlikely that you're going to need it. Like that if that Cura is going to save you, then my god, you've just scraped barely by. So anyways, looking at what I went all the way top left to Demonic Whisper, picking everything up here because I really think those abilities are important. It's kind of the thing that makes Lakshmi stand out. I picked up the bottom part. I literally picked up the bottom half of everything here, like up to Cura, the spirit and stuff. Everything up here is a little bit redundant. The Stona, it requires you to be premeditated, right? And it's, if you're going to be premeditating and you know that you're fighting a boss that's going to cast Petrify, why not just cast Softening Protection every 3 turns? You'll be fine, man. You don't have to sit there and waste a turn healing one unit when you're free for 3 turns. So honestly, I think those are a little bit useless. It can only catch you by surprise, and if you get caught by surprise in like a thing and you're maybe doing story mission and you get Stona cast on you, just finish the mission, you'll be fine. It's not a life or death situation. This only becomes viable in a boss fight. If you're fighting a boss, you probably know they're going to be casting stone. Your units might be already immune to stone, and if they're not, then just cast Softening Protection, you'll be fine. Alright, so overall, she belongs on anyone, really, but mostly I would put her on a healer, I would put her on a support unit, and I would put her on a tank. Depending on what you're trying to accomplish, she fits very well on all of those. Very well-rounded. Esper can do a bunch of different things there for you, right? So that is going to be my little mini Esper guide and telling you what I've done with my Espers. It is a long video, but I kind of did a little bit about everybody. If there is any information you guys want to share, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if maybe you would use an Esper for something else. Maybe you want to put Ifrit on a healer. I don't know. Maybe your healer is your damage dealer. I don't know. Back in the day when I used to play Final Fantasy XI online, I used to have a fully leveled up White Mage Tartaru with maxed mace skill. So I used to go into leveling parties with my actual White Mage, dual wielding maces and attacking and doing some crazy damage with a move that used to be called Hex Strike, which you attack like 8 or 12 times or whatever. And you had this move called Black Hole, which you could actually do some crazy stuff. And another like high level unlocked move called like Retribution or something, where I was as a healer, I was doing a lot of the damage, like dual wielding macings and stuff. So I don't know, maybe that's what you want to do, but let me know in the comment section, bro, and share that with me. I'm very, very much interested. Also, make sure that you follow me on the new platforms I tried to attach there for you guys. It's a lot easier for you to follow me along now. You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and we can keep on chatting even when I'm not making videos or if I'm not on YouTube. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around. This is Vortie. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.
Aside.